So the teacher wants me to match up this equation to a graph, and they've given me just a bunch of different graphs to look through. I got to fumble through all of these and find which one would match with this equation. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to look at that equation that I gave you in my previous videos. Y equals A times the absolute value of x minus h plus k. Let's think about each of the things I told you the a, the negative h, and the positive k represent. A is going to represent whether it's flipped, and if it's narrow or wide. Now it's going to be narrow if we multiply by a large number, or a whole number I should say, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Any of those numbers are going to make it skinnier and skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. It's going to rise much faster. Now if we want it to get wide, it's going to be multiplied by a fraction or a decimal, like 1/4 or 2/3, something less than 1. Now flipping it just means that this is a negative value that we're multiplying by our absolute value. Okay, here, this is where it gets a little bit tricky because we're subtracting h. The h, whatever is inside of the bars, that tells us if we're going to be going left or right. And the only reason that this is tricky is because it's the opposite of what we would naturally think, because we're subtracting. If we're subtracting a negative value, it will actually show up as a positive like it does here. So because it's positive, we mean that this means we're actually dealing with a negative 2. So what we want to think here is, what would a negative 2 mean? Should we go left or should we go right if we're dealing with a negative 2? Again, the only reason that it's addition is because we're subtracting a negative, and that would mean we're going to go left. So I've kind of already answered part of this question. We're going to go left 2 with our parent function. Now the k is going to tell us up or down, and this one should be very basic, probably the easiest one to work with, plus k. If it says plus, we're going to go up. If it says minus or subtract, we're going to go down. Those are the two directions that the k will tell you to go. So let's look at what we're dealing with this equation. We're dealing with an equation that is going down because it's minus 4. So we're going to say down 4. That parent function is also going to move to the left. Remember, the opposite of what you would naturally think. Most of us naturally, when we see a plus, think go to the right, but it's the opposite, so we're going left 2. And we are going to be very steep and narrow because we're multiplying it by a whole number. And it's also going to flip because it is negative, so that will make it flip. And it will be a steeper graph than your typical V. So we're going to have something like that that's moved left 2 and down 4 on the coordinate grid. Now remember, if it wasn't moved left or down, it'd be right there at the center. So we're talking about this point here at the center, moving left 2, down 4. So we're looking for something down in this area. So I can flip through these fairly quickly and find the one that I like. It's not that one. That one's not even flipped. If it wasn't flipped, this one's pointing up like a V, okay? That means it wouldn't have that negative there. And that one is flipped, but it's really, really wide, which means we're going to have a fraction here as opposed to a whole number. Notice how that is a very, very wide upside down V. That would mean we'd have something like 1/4 or 1/5. And we can actually figure out exactly what it is because we're going down 1 over 1, 2, 3. It would actually be multiplied by 1/3. Okay, so that would be a negative 1/3 in the equation for this one. Incorrect. This one is just moved 2 to the right. So that one would really just be a minus 2 there. Not the right match. Again, this one didn't even flip. It's still a V. So that would be a positive value that is being multiplied by. Nope, that's moved right and up. We're supposed to be moving down and left. So that one's actually doing the opposite of what we want. This one just moves straight up the y-axis. So this one would just have, if I wanted to show the equation for this, I'll just write that down real quick. This is a very basic equation. It didn't widen out. It didn't get any skinnier. It's just up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So it's your basic parent function for x, but it did go up 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So this is the equation for this one. Just kind of give you a brief overview of what we're looking at. We can find equations pretty quickly just by those rules that apply up here. Okay, this one just moved 1 to the right. This one just moves straight down, so that'd be minus 1, 2, 3, 4, which we do want to go down 4, but we also need to go left 2 and get skinnier. So we got some other things that need to be fixed there. Here, 1 to the right, 4 up, not what I'm looking for. And this one is going left 2, down 1, 2, 3, 4. By golly, left 2, down 4. Looks skinny to me. If I were to extend these lines out, okay, it is going to be a fairly skinny V. Notice that I'm going down 1, 2, and then a third before I went over 1 full unit. So that is a negative because it's flipped, and a 3 because our slope essentially would be down 3 over 1. I believe we found a match. D would match to 13. Okay, let's do one more of these just to make sure you have this dialed in and down so you figure out how to make your matches. We were given another equation. Okay, this time I'm not going to give you the top with the instructions. We have to remember what they mean. Okay, so we have a negative 4 on the inside. That's going to be our left and right movement. We have a negative 1 on the right. That's going to be our up and down movement. We have a negative 2, which is going to tell us to flip or not to flip, and how skinny of a V we should have. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, the audience, to think this through and try and answer it right now on your end of the screen before I write it down. Okay, if it says minus 4 inside the absolute value bars, that's left or right. Okay, those are the two options that you can have. I'm going to write down the correct direction in about 5 seconds. I want you to think it out, see if you are correct. X minus 4 would be, that would be right 4. Remember, you want to do the opposite of what you would naturally think. When we see a minus, we think, oh, we're going to go left, or subtraction goes smaller. We're actually going the opposite, right. Okay, negative 1, that's either going to be up or down. Same thing. I want you to just think this through on your end, answer it, see if you get the correct answer. Negative 1, would we be going up or would we be going down? We would be going down. Down, down, 1 space. Okay, and then we have a negative 2. Are we flipping the V? So should it be a V or should it be a mountaintop? That would be based on the fact that it is a negative, and hopefully you are saying it should be a mountaintop. Okay, and it's a 2, so should it be skinnier than the average V, or should it be wider? And the correct answer is it should be a little bit skinnier. Skinnier than your typical mountaintop. Okay, so we should have something that looks like this, that is moved 4 to the right and 1 down. Here we have a couple to the left, couple down. That is not right. I'm going to move that out of the way. Here, let me put that up right way. Okay, we are moving right, but not 4 spaces. We're only going 2 spaces to the right and 1 down. That's not correct. Get out of here, 23. Oh my gosh, they're all upside down. What did I do? Here we're going 4 to the right. Good. But we're going up 2. Not good. Get out of here. Oh, I'm just going to keep playing this switching game. Okay. 31, 3 to the right, doesn't go up or down. That won't be correct. This is 1 to the left. Nope, we want to go right. Don't even pay attention to anything else. 4 to the right, 1 down. 4 to the right, 1 down. Yes, and notice we're a little bit skinnier. It doesn't look a whole lot skinnier, but you can use this to see if it is correct. We're going down 2 spaces over 1. It's kind of like your slope, down 2 over 1. And that is our matching equation. Q goes to 27, and thank you for stopping by.